So I'm down here in the shelter. On my second overnighter, I'll talk a little bit about how to manage your fear, staying in the woods on your own. I've stayed in the woods. This will be my fourth time staying overnight outside on my own. Second night at the shelter. The first time I done it was more than 10 years ago. Didn't go too well. It was actually an absolute disaster, to be honest. And I didn't do it for a long time after that. I didn't sleep at all. I was out on a long hike. I pitched up the tent and I pitched it on a bit of a slope. It was the only place I could pitch it. It was getting dark, so I had no other options but to pitch it where I was, and I was in amongst some pine trees just in off of Forest Road. And in the middle of the night, around 2 o'clock in the morning, hunters turned up, and I could hear deer beside me prior to them turning up. And anyway, there was a couple of shots fired, and I was in the tent, and I made my presence known. And they drove down and they shined their lights in on the tent. So yeah, didn't get any sleep that night, I tell you. And I had a long walk the next day, so it was a long night, very long night. And as I said, I didn't do it again for a long time after that. The second time I done it, I was parked not too far from my car, 10-minute walk, not even 10 minutes. And I was in an open area. There was a couple of trees around. It wasn't in the depths of the forest or anything like that. And everything was grand. Up until the point it starts getting dark. Like now, it'll be dark now fairly soon. This is probably the worst time being on your own out here is when it's getting dark, and you start to realise you really are out here on your own, and you feel very, very vulnerable, and all sorts of things go through your head. And as I said, that's probably the worst time. And I found that out when I was doing it my second time camping outside. I found that out, and it wasn't very pleasant, to be honest. I got so scared that I ran out of the forest. I left the forest. I packed up, walked down to the car and drove home. It was about 12 o'clock at night when I left. And I didn't do it for a long time after that. So what I've learned is, after spending my first night in this shelter 2 weeks ago, it was much more different, a lot different than the first 2 times I stayed out. And I think what helped was I would go on long walks in nature, in the forest. I would go out into the forest and I would find some spots, and I would light a little fire and cook some food and get used to being out in nature, and just get used to being out in nature on my own, being with myself, get used to the noises, and just sit there and chill out for a few hours. I done that a number of times. I done that at a few different places, and I eventually found this place where I'm at now, and it felt right. It felt like a good place. So I camped here one night with 2 friends and decided then after that to build a shelter. And as I was building the shelter, I would stay here for a few hours and have a bit of food and work on the shelter and get used to the area, know my surroundings, know what's around you. Have a look around Google Maps. So it's a good thing to get out into nature either way. If you're going to spend a night or if you're going to go out for a few hours. Um, but I highly recommend working towards spending the night in the forest on your own. Yeah, I really do. I had some nice experiences on my last day here in the shelter. I had a deer come up to me right here in the middle of the night. I woke up and it was looking at me. Initially I felt I got a bit of a fright, but then I realised it's there. It's okay. And the deer then bounced off through the forest, making loads of noise, running through the forest. And I had another bit of a scare also with I had a fire going and I threw some extra logs on the fire to get to keep it going for a couple of hours through the night, and the noise of the logs falling I was kind of half dozing off, and that kind of woke me up, and I was like, jeez, that was a bit scary. So I mean, the fear hasn't completely gone yet. I don't think it will ever completely go. You do come more relaxed, and you do enjoy it more the more you do it. Just going out for a few hours, if that's all it is, and do it on a regular basis, and sit out in nature. The benefits are numerous. There's a lot of benefits to be had. Um, as you at the moment, there's a lot of fear going around. There's a lot of people are in fear. So I mean, it's a good thing to face your fears, even if that's being on your own in the woods at all. It's to go out for a walk, and you at the start, it is difficult. Your mind is telling you to go, and it's telling you all sorts of things, but you sit with it. You take in take in the surroundings. Don't forget to breathe. As I find, when we're in fear and we're afraid, we start to breathe shallow. So it's take deep breaths, relax, take in the surroundings, and start to enjoy yourself. So I'm going to be here now tonight. I'm going to stay the night tonight. So um, yeah, you can probably hear the dogs barking off in the distance there. And at night, there are a lot of sounds. You hear a lot of sounds. You hear leaves falling, animals are running around, the wind is blowing in the trees. Sometimes it does sound like someone is walking towards you, but I mean, there's nobody out here but me, and there's nothing really to be afraid of. It's just it's what we tell ourselves and make us afraid. So, and you can kind of feel when the fear is coming up and it's surfacing. You kind of get used to it, how it manifests in you, and you're able to manage it and not let it overwhelm you to the point where, like me, you're running out of the woods at 12 o'clock at night. So yeah, get out into nature and enjoy yourself. Thanks for listening.